Angie, yes, people, welcome back. It's Friday night. It's not Chip and Chin. It's a bit different today. I'm holding the fort, and I have Waxy and Yash and Lewis. Yash and Lewis have always recently been on the channel. Waxy is making his third debut of the night. But we all thought, I'm going to go around the table, ask everyone how they are. But Friday afternoon, I thought it might be just a quiet afternoon. Liverpool have done the business in Marseille. They'll probably go with the same team, so there's nothing, no questions asked. But there's a press conference around 18 minutes, probably twice as much of the time that Arne Slot has been spending in front of the cameras in the recent times as well. And then we got the bomber, the Robertson bomber. And then last time my phone was popping off like that during the day, it was Klopp decided to leave Liverpool, and it wasn't as massive news as that. But when it comes to legend status, there's not many bigger than Andy Robertson who are still at Liverpool Football Club. But yeah, it's a welcome. It's a good Friday night already with 109 people already in the building. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and you know what? Before I forget, we overnight, Waxy reminded me today that we hit the 18,000 figure. So thank you so much, people. Honestly, from every single one of us at BNR, and it's been a huge, massive struggle just to get up to 18k. But the journey has just started, and it's all down to you guys who support us with chats, who support us in DMs, encouraging us on a day-to-day basis. And reach out to us. You don't have to reach out to us, but all those messages of love and support mean the world to us, and it makes us carry on a daily basis, providing content for you guys, because that's all that matters. So honestly, big up to the BNR community, and keep smashing that like button as well. And make sure you head over to these guys. Yash has. Have you started your YouTube yet, Yash?
No, I haven't had a chance to start that yet, to be fair, but I'm still posting on TikTok consistently.
100%. Head over to Yash Talks Footy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Lewis Beyond the Cop, he's got a YouTube channel, so make sure you head over to Lewis's channel and make sure you check out all the brilliant work he does as well. And he's always on other channels as well, and he's very, very active. So big up, and we all respect the grind, whether you put it on YouTube or over on any of the social media. Right, I'll head over to the blurry Waxer. Liverpool's season has been a bit blurry, Waxy, but how are you? It's been a long time. We obviously chat on a daily basis, but first time in a long time in front of the cameras. What's going on? Is it a bit cloudy, a bit foggy up in Newcastle, or what is it?
Terrible up here. But yeah, you know, Asim has just been a bit busy. Normally I'm in bed by now, to be honest.
I know you are.
I think Asim forced me to do
He's not lying.
Do today. So I said, okay, fair enough. I'll just chip in tonight. But yeah, it's been a bit of a. What do you think is a bombshell of Robertson's news?
I think no one expected it.
Yeah.
Were you expecting it?
No, but we knew he was going to leave anyway, whether it would be now or summer. There was, because he had a conversation, didn't he, in the post-match last week?
He's talking about a contract, yeah.
And he mentioned about his contract situation, whether he's going to stay, going to leave.
Yes, he did, yeah.
From those comments, it did sort of indicate that he will, potentially might leave. So that sort of brought up the first sort of question mark of him staying or not. So whether it would have been this window or next, everyone assumed it would be next window. But yeah.
Okay, let's go to Lewis. Big up more to South Africa, because Lewis is on the madness. 3 seasons ago. Backstage, I was asking Lewis. I knew because I saw his Twitter earlier, and I asked him if his missus had chucked him out. He go, and I won't say what his reply. What his response was. Well, Lewis, I repeat, I don't think anyone expected it. Yes, I think I can understand what Waxy is saying as well, that we were going to whether we were going to have this conversation in January or the summer, this conversation was coming up, let's be honest. And if he thought that he might get a few more minutes at Liverpool, that thought process has sort of not been erased. Yeah, maybe erased, especially with the pickup in form that Kirkes has over the last month. So he's probably thinking, okay, this conversation needs to be had 6 months early. I love the club, but in terms of a personal sense, he wants more minutes. And there's a massive, massive World Cup coming for him as well, obviously, as we all know. What do you make of the whole situation, mate? Obviously, we've all got our personal feelings, but we're all sad that we'll see this legend leave. But it's brought up a few more issues that we need to discuss tonight.
I mean, look, I could talk about Andrew Robertson at length for hours. The man, he's our generation's Emlyn Hughes. He is a massive figurehead and icon of this football club, both on the pitch and off the pitch. He represents Liverpool as a person. The work rate he puts in, the effort, the fact that he never shirks responsibility. He's the first to address the problems, but he's also the first to get stuck in. He is a phenomenal legend of this football club who, losing someone with that experience and that leadership in the dressing room is going to be irreplaceable. There will never be another Andrew Robertson for Liverpool, just like how there will never be another Sadio Mane, there will never be a Mo Salah, there will never be another John Barnes or Ian Rush. He's a one-of-a-kind player, Andrew Robertson. Him leaving divides me in two. I've got my head and I've got my heart. In my head, it makes sense. Like you said perfectly, Scotland have got their first World Cup coming up in a long time. He's the captain of the club. He wants to be fit for that. He wants to be at his best. He said so out when he talked about Jota and the World Cup a few months ago. That is his priority. And he's too good of a player to have his minutes reduced. Yes, he's 31 going on 32, but he still ranks in top 10% metrics for passes, crosses into the final third, key passes. He is someone who could very easily go to another team and have a seismic impact. And then there's my heart, which is just Robertson as a backup or a rotation option this season has been far from poor. Let's not forget, he played 90 minutes against Inter Milan. We won that match. 90 minutes against Aston Villa, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. Like, he is still featured in some of the biggest matches of this season, and he still performs. And Milos Kerkez, I have no doubt, has felt the benefit of his influence in that dressing room when he's on the pitch. You see the improvement in him, the shades of early Andrew Robertson there. He's great going forward at the moment, but he's not too brash when he tracks back. He's so well structured and coordinated. And the influence Robertson had has been felt in ways that cannot be described. So I'm devastated from a personal standpoint, but in my head, I can see the rationale for him wanting to leave and the club wanting to get a bit of money for him rather than losing him on free in a few months' time.
Yash, it's £3 million, as we've been told by Paul George tonight. Is it that important to Liverpool that we should let this player, who might not have the quality to start week in, week out, he's lost his place to Kerkez, and now, like I touched on earlier with my question to Lewis, that if he thought that I could get into the team, that thought or chance has, really drastically reduced over the last 3 to 4 weeks with the upturn in form that Kerkez has enjoyed. So Liverpool's season isn't over, Yash. We still need to consolidate that third, fourth position. We want to win the Champions League. Why shouldn't we be thinking about the Champions League? We've shown this season that we can play with the likes of Real Madrid. We've just gone to Marseille, and I know it wasn't the greatest Marseille side, but it was hyped up like Liverpool are going to struggle in France. We've had some really decent performances against big teams in the Premier League, the best team in the league, the best team in Europe, according to Pep Guardiola today. In Arsenal, we didn't give them the football in the second half. Yes, we didn't penetrate their defense, but we had the ball and we looked a much better side. So why should we even risk that with not keeping someone like Robertson? You might think, or we all probably agree, Robertson's not the same player. Far from it. That what we see over 5-6 years ago, but we can't underestimate the importance of experience and what he provides on and off the pitch to this squad, to this young squad. But £3 million, why risk it all?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's worth 3 million getting rid of him, only if just because I know the club isn't going to bring in someone else, because having Kirkes as the main option for the rest of the season, I mean, it started off that way, to be honest, going in, he's starting most games, and then he had that period where he wasn't playing too well. So I think having Robertson, someone who's so reliable, you could put in the first team straight away, and he'll give you a good game at least most games. Of course, he has dropped off a little level, but that will help Kirkes in a way that he could improve his game, and we're seeing that now. Robertson had that period where he was starting more. That competition kind of did help Kirkes build up his game time, and now we're seeing him playing so well. And I just think the only option the club's looking at the moment is recalling Tsimikas back, which in my opinion is in even more of a drop-off than Robertson, even though Robertson isn't at his best as well. So dropping off that extra level is too much, considering we still, the Premier League's done, kind of. Like, we're not going to win the Premier League, but we still have to push for top 4 at least, which isn't going to be easy with how we've been playing in the league. The Champions League, we could still go further in it. We don't want Kirkes playing every single match. And I don't trust Slot to like bring someone up from the youth team, for example, and start him at fullback, because that's just not what he does. So unless the club has ideas of bringing someone in for 3 million, it isn't worth it. And as a personal standpoint, how much of a legend he is, the fact that we won't be able to give him a send off is kind of it's like that also plays a part in it. I know 3 million, like for the club, it's not worth losing that player for that long, and like the way we're gonna send him off at the end of the season.
Well, actually, Mohammed from South Africa, who's always supporting the channel, whether it's on YouTube or directly to me on WhatsApp. Big up, Mohammed. Always supporting. He says, Asim, market got a feeling that they're going to buy someone for the back line. They can't be this negligent, surely. Do you agree? Because, Robbo wasn't holding a homegrown spot, so it can't be like for like straight away if we were going to bring someone. I can't see it, especially if the report, I think Romano reported it today, that they're already in talks with Roma about bringing him back. So in my eyes, it's just like for like.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Tsimikas will be coming back if Robbo goes. I think that's the sort of the plan. But what I sort of don't understand is Robbo wants to leave. Liverpool, I'm not sure why they're entertaining it now, especially with our squad that's quite depleted at the moment, especially in the back line. It's only 4 or 5 months left till the summer, and I'm sure Robbo can understand that as well, that we are short. We need you for the next 4 or 5 months. So why is he asking to leave now?
But Waxy's got a World Cup to play for. He wants some minutes in his legs.
And we don't know the contract.
He's still playing the World Cup. It's not as if he's not going to go to the World Cup. So he will still get,
of course,
World Cup appearances. It's not about that. But, we talk about what's best interest for all parties. So that's Spurs, Robbo, Liverpool. So the best interest for Liverpool is for him to stay. Yeah.
Of course.
Best interest for Robbo is not to upset Liverpool. Yeah, so he should stay. Robbo should think that, you know what, they've done everything for me. It's only 4 or 5 months away. You know what, I'll just leave in the summer. 3 million or not, let's give them 4 or 5 months of hard work. If I play, I play. If I don't, I'll do my best off the field. And in the summer, I'll go on a free transfer and I'll go to Spurs or whoever he wants to go to, because it'll be open then, because there'll be more teams. So it's a strange one why he wants to leave now, although he did want to leave a couple of times before last season.
Atletico Madrid, wasn't it? Yeah.
Not even before that, Asim. I think, remember in March time, there was some conversation over him leaving.
I think Celtic were linked with him or something like that.
There was some kind of contract or something that they wanted to sort of leave end of the season as well. So I think it's a bit strange for him to actually leave.
There's a Scott flying a flag in the chat. Big up, Conroy.
Thing is, one thing I don't understand is the fact that I don't know why he sees guaranteed minutes at Spurs. I understand. They have fullbacks, but they're not dying for. Like, I'm pretty sure Udogie played against Dortmund, if I'm not wrong. I just checked that he is injured at the moment, but he's.
I think they want to sign him for Ben Davis.
Yeah, he fractured
Yeah,
his
so
ankle.
Ben Davies is a rotational left back, so he would have the exact same role there. Because as soon as Udogie's back, which is apparently the end of this month, which is not long, like then he's going to be out the team. Surely, I wouldn't say Robertson's going to be better than him for Thomas Frank's plans, unless that's what it is.
Could be playing a left-sided centre back, I suppose.
Yeah, and it depends as well. Like we don't know how the contract talks. We don't know how they went. Maybe we said, look, you're going to be leaving in summer, and he's thought, okay, well, I'm not going to stick around then. And also, we don't know if Roma have said to us, look, you need to take Tsimikas back because we're not having him at the moment. And maybe that's sort of forced everyone's hand a little bit, because maybe Liverpool are seeing it as Robbo's only got a few months left. Tsimikas will be here. He's got a contract till 2027. You know, which one are we more likely to get rid of sooner rather than later? And Robbo would probably fall into that category in the eyes of Liverpool and the way they conduct business. It's very rare that someone of Robbo's age is given a new contract or asked to stick around in the length they do.
But we hold the cards when it comes to Tsimikas, Lewis.
That's what I'm saying. I was about to say.
Do we decide?
Well, if I don't know if there's a release clause. But
let me see.
Generally speaking, when a loan agreement is agreed, the selling club have a release clause to return him back. The buying club can't say, okay, look, if we want, we're going to send him back in 6 months. Very rarely.
Fabrizio Romano earlier on, he reported saying that he's understanding that AS Roma have given us the green light for Kostas Tsimikas to return to Liverpool if Robertson is to join Spurs.
Yeah. So that suggests we've only made the move because Robbo has approached us and made his intentions clear.
That's what I'm saying. Robbo's asked to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why he would want to leave to have the exact same role at Spurs. I don't see him.
Maybe you actually got guarantees from Thomas Frank.
And Heitinga.
And I suppose Udogie is your number one, and he can't stay fit for very long, so he's more likely to get minutes, I think, there more than he would be if Tsimikas is staying fit.
Yeah. But are we underestimating the fact that, okay, we're talking about guarantees, but it'll be interesting to see what length of contract Spurs offer him. You know, what if they're offering him a 2-3 year contract? Yeah. That would be appealing as well. As well as, you know, maybe I think he's seen at Liverpool that he's got no chance unless Tsimikas gets injured. And the problem is it's not a big chance, but it's a small chance, not a half decent chance that we get knocked out of the FA Cup as well, because we got Brighton, even though it's Anfield. But Brighton have given us problems in the league, never mind in the FA Cup, where we might rest one or two like we did against Barnsley. And then he's probably thinking, where's my next start coming from?
Yeah.
Where's my next start? Because the manager, like I said, spent 18 minutes in front of the camera, and a chunk of that press conference was talking about the robustness of Milos Tsimikas, the confidence and the form of Milos Tsimikas. And 4 or 5 weeks ago, he was talking about Ekitike, Tsimikas, and some of the other new players about how they can't grasp the physicality of the league. But if anyone has shown that he is maturing now, and he's getting up to a fitness level where he himself was talking about that I cannot play, I'm struggling to play 2-3 games in 10 days. But he has shown that even though the profile of player, he doesn't miss a challenge, he doesn't duck out a challenge, he's very, very robust. And he's probably at that level now. He's taken 6 months just to get up to the physicality and the fitness level that he needs to be at. And he's bought a new level of confidence. He's enjoying new relationships when it comes to him and Florian Wirtz on that down the left-hand side. And Robertson has thought, okay, I can't get into this team. And yeah, I know you're probably thinking he'll play for Scotland. He'll lead the Scottish team in Europe anyway. But at the end of the day, on a personal level, when are Scotland or when is Robertson going to play in a World Cup again? So on a personal level, he's thinking that I need to be in the best shape of my, not life, but as possible. And I need to make sure I set an example. If I'm struggling to stay up after keep up. I know the World Cup and the international game is slightly slower, but Robertson won't be slowed down in the World Cup. Doesn't matter what shape he is in, but he wants to make sure he plays in every game as well. So he needs to make sure that he's got minutes. But I'm looking at it at Liverpool perspective. I love Robertson. We all do. Like you said, just to echo your sentiments, Lewis, that we could spend a lot of time talking about his career, his mannerisms, his camaraderie, and how integral he is on and off the pitch. But with all due respect, I'm not a Robertson fan. I'm a Liverpool fan, if you see what I mean. And I want to see the situation from a Liverpool perspective. And I'm looking at the hierarchy that we enjoy a really good relationship with Robertson, 100%. But we should be selfish. Get him in a room and say, we love you, Robbo, but you're staying. And if you want to get a new contract elsewhere, you want to get minutes elsewhere, this and that, you're staying here for 3 to 6 months because we think you can still play a role. You might not get a lot of minutes on the field. When we will provide you. You never know. In a month's time, hopefully, he doesn't get injured, but you never know. We have to think worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And for me, the importance of him on and off the pitch, because you can't have it both ways, lads. Where the manager and the narrative coming out from the club is saying we've signed all these young players, they need to be integrated, they need to be guided by the experienced players. Well, you're letting one go in mid-season then. So you can't have it both ways. And then in the last summer, you're telling us that this is a player in Luis Diaz, he's 28 years old, and we're going to let him leave because this is the business model that we run. This is the type of sort of risk-averse type of policy that we have for 28-year-olds, and we don't want to give 4-year contracts to 28-year-olds, even though they provided really good output, because we want to be seen as really ruthless in the transfer market. If you let someone go, one, you need to come and get a replacement, and two, even if that experienced player in Robertson, in this case, isn't getting the minutes, you can't underestimate the fact that how important he might be in 2-3 weeks' time. Why risk it? Because this defensive line is so depleted. And you can't also have it the same way as 2-3 weeks earlier, and you were telling us that we're not worried about Gomez being injured. We're not worried about Leone having a long-term injury because we've got the likes of Endo and Gravenberch and Robertson who can play in centre-back positions. Yeah. So you're telling me that we've got versatility and we've got adaptability in those positions, but then letting one of the guys who can play in centre-backs, I might not agree with it, but you're telling me that he can play in centre-back positions and you're letting him go. And he's our vice-captain as well. So you can't have it both ways. You're ruthless on the negotiation table, or you want to act nice. But Liverpool, in my opinion, are acting too nice. And probably acting too nice on the pitch this season and acting too nice. Let's be honest. We don't owe Robertson anything. No. He's been an absolute legend of the club. But we don't owe him anything because we've given him a brilliant career at Liverpool as well. So we should be looking at how it helps us in the next 3 to 6 months. If it was a £30 million fee, then you can understand it. You know what? He doesn't play, but it's £30 million.
Yeah, that's what I mean. £3 million. What he offers behind the scenes for Liverpool and what he offers in terms of his leadership, his experience, it's worth more than £3 million, which wouldn't buy you anything nowadays. Robertson is someone who, I understand that he's not the player that he used to be, but I will feel a million times more confident having an Andrew Robertson rotate around Kirkes than I will a Kostas Tsimikas, because he can still provide going forward. And if you're that worried about him in a defensive sense, didn't we literally have those same worries with Trent for years? What did we do? We had Wijnaldum drop into right back to provide cover for him. We've got Curtis Jones capable of dropping to left back to provide cover. McAllister can do it from time to time. Szoboszlai can do it. There's a multitude of options. Robertson is a key component of this dressing room. And going into a summer window where there's talk about Curtis Jones potentially leaving, another massive leader in that dressing room, especially in the way that he's approached this season. Salah could potentially be leaving. Van Dijk's not got long left. You need to keep hold of these leadership players as long as you can. Yeah, he's not what he was, but he can still provide something for these new players coming in. Are you telling me that the young lads coming through that academy can't learn more from Andrew Robertson than they will Kostas Tsimikas or Milos Kerkez learning from a Champions League, Premier League winning player for £3 million midway through the season? We were still in the Champions League and we're still in the FA Cup. I can't see sense in it from that regard. But I understand why Liverpool are looking at it and saying, right, This player now has indicated to us that he wants to leave. We have another left back coming in to fill the role. It's a little bit of extra cash. I get it from their perspective, but from my perspective, it makes absolutely no sense. It's putting financial benefit before the improvement and the advancement of this club on the pitch, which is all I personally care about. And I know a lot of fans feel the same about it.
Yeah, just a question for you. And there's a lot of support for Tsimikas. Look, I'm not doubting Tsimikas is in isolation on the ball quality. If anything, I think Tsimikas is probably, in terms of ball manipulation and technical ability, I repeat, in isolation, I think he's probably better than Robertson. But Robertson has never relied on technical ability, never ever. And Robertson is a much better overall player, you know, in 5 years ago and now as well. But we've changed system over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And in 4 or 5 weeks ago, Tsimikas staying behind, getting involved in the first ways. He could play a pass into midfield. He can play it down the line, and he can come into midfield areas as well because he's more comfortable on the ball. But now, if we're playing Wirtz in Gakpo's position, the intensity levels have increased. So I don't think if Tsimikas was like a B-Tech version of Kerkez where he can get up and down the pitch, I would have half understood it. But I feel like this has only been a reaction of ringing and getting on the phone to Roma is because I think Liverpool have been sort of, it was unexpected in terms of the hierarchy, getting the call from Robbo or his camp that he wants to leave in January. And we've thought, okay, what's the best option right now is to pick up the phone because we've got a left back playing his trade in Roma.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Tsimikas coming in is purely a reaction, and I think as much as I want the club to sign a fullback, I think there's a lot of uncertainty around the club at the moment regarding why we're not doing any transfers. I believe it's because they're not 100% certain on the manager, in my opinion. So they're waiting to see how it gets until the summer. So they don't want to push for any signings at the moment that suit Slot if Slot isn't here in the summer, for example. So maybe that's why they're not trying to sign someone, and they're thinking, what's the best option we can do without having to buy and bring someone in? And that is obviously calling Tsimikas. But I just don't understand why that price, it's like there's no benefit for us as a club. And I think the club is just taking an L on this, in my opinion, and just saying, oh, look, we'll have to bring Tsimikas back. We've got no choice. We don't really want to spend anything right now, even though I think regardless of the uncertainty, you can still look for a fullback that can be a shadow to Kerkez, even if it's someone young, for example, like how we've been doing with the centre halves. We're still bringing in younger centre halves that have a lot of talent in other countries, for example. And so if we do that for left back, that could be a potential option, have them under Kerkez. But again, do you trust the manager to integrate them into the first team? I don't know. Do I trust Slot? I don't know how he's going to be with Tsimikas, to be honest, with this newer system. I get going forward. I wouldn't really. Tsimikas is more better in central kind of areas, drifting in. He's a bit more technical. I don't think he's got that pace to be overlapping, giving in good crosses, and then on the defensive side as well.
And in defensive transitions, he looks a bit like McAllister getting back. Let's be honest.
He's not the quickest, strongest. I think one thing Robertson was kind of good at in because he's got so much experience defending against these high level wingers. I just think bringing Tsimikas, who again at Roma, by the way, struggled for minutes over there. He's not getting regular game time. So you're bringing in someone who's in the Serie A at Roma, struggling to get minutes, bringing him back into a team that's trying to do well in the Champions League, get top 4 in the Premier League. The levels of intensity are so different. So I just think doing both sides of there's no benefits for us, and I think the clubs have just taken a huge L on this one, and I don't see how they're going to change it.
So with recalling Tsimikas back, what would be the plan for him beyond summer?
I think Tsimikas gets a permanent move. I don't know how many years he's got left on his Liverpool contract.
2027 is when it expires.
Yeah. So I think Tsimikas leaves.
Which means that we would need to get another left back then.
Yeah. Which is a good segue to what the long-term plans are, guys. At left back, do we go for an understudy, someone like, not a Tsimikas, but of that similar profile? Do we go and change tactic
centre back
and get a left-sided centre back? We're desperate. I've been talking about this left side. If it was up to me, I'd get a couple in. Everyone's talking about Mickey van der Ven. There's a few others, Bastoni, there's Schlotterbeck as well, obviously. Where do you see it going, Lewis? Do you see Liverpool going for that sort of profile, or do you think they'll get just an understudy with a similar profile to Kirkes, if Tsimikas leaves, of course?
I think left-sided centre-back is probably the most likely outcome, because Kirkes is a long-term player in this squad, let's be honest. Whereas we've got to look at that central partnership. You've got Konate leaving, you've got Van Dijk, who's got 1 year left on his deal once again after this season. So we need to start future-proofing that area of the pitch. Whereas at least with left-back, you've got Kirkes, and there's a few young lads coming through who can maybe deputise for now, or you can look to bring someone in. I just think there's other weaknesses in that back line. We're in desperate need of someone like a Nico Schlotterbeck, a Bastoni, maybe a Lukeba. Someone's just got to come in and start to be. We've got to be proactive for when Van Dijk does leave, because that's when there's a real worry in that back line. Losing Robertson's big in a sort of characteristic sense. We need to start thinking about what happens when Van Dijk goes, because that is going to be a huge detriment to that whole back line. And the way Slot's wanting, because like I said before, we don't know if Slot is going to be in charge next season. And there was a comment that was saying we don't sign players for the manager, we sign players for the club. And there's a lot of centre-backs out there and talented defenders you can bring in who would suit an Alonso style of play, a Luis Enrique, whoever it is who would come in if Slot was to leave. That's how we need to start thinking about it. We need to start thinking of players who will be more of a benefit to whoever does come in, if someone does. And going out and signing a backup left back, it's not as big a priority as the future starting centre back of that Liverpool defence for me personally.
Yash?
No, I'm the same in that sense. I think having someone dynamic enough to play left back when Kirkes isn't available or in rotation, but then can also develop into a starting left-sided centre half. I think the way Arsenal have done pretty well with that, they've had Calafiori who can do left centre back and left back. We've got Hincapi who can do the same. They took two really good ones off the market, to be honest, with those.
Yeah.
So they have, even regarding a lot of their defenders, to be fair, they have players that can play in a few positions. So I think that's the way forward. You obviously want the specialists that we've got, the Frimpongs, Kirkes, that's their role, but versatility in defence is what we need going forward. And I think we've got Kirkes now. We know he's developing so much into a top fullback. If you bring in someone who can ideally start and replace Van Dijk going forward when he eventually does leave, then also has the ability. Van der Ven is a good example. I'm not the biggest fan of Van der Ven, but I know he can be very good at left back. It can also help Slot with tactics, whether that's him tucking in to a back three, depending on if we sign a winger, for example. So I think that's definitely the profile we should go for. I don't think having another version of Kirkes can add much, add some new dynamics to the squad, which is what we need at the moment. We need solutions, and I think having more players that can do these things is how we go forward. With Tsimikas, I don't think he would have ever played for us again if this situation would have happened. I think the club knew we're trying to get rid of him in the summer. The loan, I'm not sure if there was a transfer that he was linked to as well as Roma, but as soon as he's gone like there, I just don't see any other option the club would have taken, because except this, which is unfortunate, because I don't think the club think Tsimikas is good enough, but I just don't think they want to bring in someone at the moment, because maybe no one's available, or again, that manager issue.
Yeah, 100%. Waxy, you've been playing FIFA recently. Does Lukeba end up being a beast?
Just about got onto the show. Never mind FIFA. No, I'm a big fan of Mickey Van der Ven. I actually
Really?
like him. Yeah,
Okay.
I think he's got pace. That's one thing. He's quite quick.
He's
I
a
think
red.
he's strong. He's quite physically strong, and I think he's quite tenacious. I think he's a really good defender. I have seen Schlotterbeck play a few times. Out of the two, I'll probably go for Mickey. Personally speaking, the edge might be pace, and also played in the Premier League. Schlotterbeck. The German league's a little bit slower than the Premier League.
Yeah.
At least Mickey's up to speed. I think Schlotterbeck might take time, half a season, maybe a full season, and we don't actually have the time for that. For players to come in, adapt to the actual league. And that's what my personal opinion is. I don't think we've got time for someone to come in. We need someone to the get-go. You're in the team, you're going to start, and we don't want any issues with pace or getting used to playing in this league. So that's why I thought Mickey would be a little bit more. I think the price tag would be the same as Schlotterbeck. I think they're around the same price mark. I'd probably expect it to be, but I don't think we'll get both. I think it'll be one or the other.
Well, actually, if Kanate leaves in the summer, that would leave Bradley, Frimpong, Gomez. I think will leave in the summer as well.
Gomez will leave.
Yeah.
So the whole right side of our defense is gone. Leone, who's just coming back from, who's an 18-year-old kid and coming back from an ACL injury. Van Dijk, who we've been saying that he needs to be managed for the last 5 years, but it never happens. We'll keep on saying it in the summer. So
Lucky
Leone,
well.
sorry.
We've got Lucky as well, and Narlo.
Well, I think we're really unlucky as well.
Would we get two left-footed centre backs?
You can't see it happening. I think Liverpool will look at two left-sided centre backs, and if it is someone like Schlotterbeck and Bastoni, I think it will. I think Liverpool, even if they play at 4 at the back, they will. In my eyes, I think they're really looking at that Calafiori, Guardiola type of player, and it's up to Schlotterbeck and it's up to Bastoni who plays that left back and who is the long-term successor for Van Dijk. Because I think that is, if Van Dijk was 25, it wouldn't make sense. But I think one of them can be the Van Dijk successor and take his position in the team if he decides to leave or wherever he goes. I don't think he'll be here. If he sees out his contract, fine. We need a plan. And Salah is still at the club, but we still got Robertson and Isak this season as well. Whether you want to believe what their plan was for him in January, is another discussion altogether. But I think Liverpool would have, like every other player, Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, we had some sort of future proofing, but we need to make sure Van Dijk is supported with a really good understudy. But it can't be. Leone was always an 18-year-old kid, an isolated case where we need a young defender coming through the club. But I think the Van Dijk replacement needs to. We will always struggle to get a Van Dijk replacement with one defender only. But I think it might be seen as we need that Calafiori type of profile, but also we've got two really good players who can play left-sided centre back as well.
But that means that you're going to be spending 200 to 300 million again.
Well, Waxy, we're losing Kanate on a free.
But I'm saying, are we going to go spend another 300 million?
They're going to have to.
I think so. I think we'll sell a lot as well, though.
I just don't think we will.
I think we'll make some sales this summer. Some pretty, might not be loads of money, but
probably would be Gakpo.
Gakpo, we might get. Yeah.
Well.
Salah could go. Gomez.
Salah as well could go to,
if you go Saudi,
yeah.
Gomez will get a fee for. Like these will obviously, it won't add up to the amount we'd spend, but again, like it will put a decent chunk in it. And also, I think with Schlotterbeck, I think that guy has a trait that his passing is some of the best I've seen in the world at centre back. There's that. The way he is almost Trent-esque, like a quarterback in that sense. Like that, I think is such a unicorn trait for a defender. Again, as you mentioned though, with the Bundesliga and defending that side of things, obviously we still need to look at. But in terms of centre backs, I have looked a lot into the 2 new youngsters we've signed, and regarding how they are in their leagues, obviously it hasn't been at any sort of high level, but the talent is really, really good, to be honest. Even that, I think Ndukwe, I think his name is, he's like 6'5" and he's like 17 years old. And he's shown really good prospect at their World Cups for their nations. I'm not saying they're going to be starters, but regarding depth, I think next season is somewhere that we're going to see them slowly being integrated as in the cup games, future-proofing, hopefully, for after Van Dijk. So I don't think the centre-backs, like bringing in loads, is going to be a big concern for the club, because I do think they have a lot of trust in these 2 that they brought in. And I kind of like that model in that sense. I like taking the punt on the.
Would you have a Marco Senesi if he was a bit of a cheaper price, just as a sort of, because he's 28 or something, I believe, as like a cheaper sort of aged experience. Is he free this summer? Like,
he's free this summer.
Marco Senesi, brilliant.
Yeah.
I think he's phenomenal. I think he'd be great in this team.
That's an example of someone you would bring in to start in the team, but then you'd have the youngsters shadowing these 2 new ones you brought in, and then rotating them in the cup. Like, but obviously, I do think we should get one, because we're replacing the best centre back in Premier League history. We need someone to a high world class potential level that we can bring in and start now. So I understand why the Schlotterbeck, Bastonis like we were being mentioned, but then I do think we can trust some of these younger ones to hopefully develop into the players that the club thinks they could become. Whilst I have a feeling we're going to keep Konate. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I just think that scenario for me would be perfect. Keeping both of them, having one solid centre back like we were planning on doing in the summer with Gahey, then rotating these youngsters would be perfect. But again, we need that one versatile defender as well that can play as a left back, even potentially a right back. And we need a Gomez basically again, but like a better version of Gomez, because he could play anywhere across the back line and put in a good job. And I don't know how many of those are available in the market, because credit to Gomez, he's put in a shift in a lot of positions at his time. So I think that should be the club area the club should target the most.
Okay, let's go to the midfield, Waxy. Actually, you know what? Let me just, as Banter has just sent us a super, let's quickly go through the supers. Muhammad Gibriya, always supporting. Thank you so much. He says, yes, the boys, Angie, Waxy on the mic, Robbo, ... legend. Big up, Muhammad. Hope you and your family are good. S-Yacht, he said to me, make sure you don't forget my super chat. How could I forget S-Yacht? He says, Angie, lads, all I'm saying is keep an eye out on Aaron Cresswell on a 6-month loan. Liverpool have already held talks with Stoke and his reps. S-Yacht is an in-the-house ITK, boys, if you didn't know. But he always supports the channel. And thank you so much. Banter is fine. Talking of people supporting the channel, Banter is fine. Is one of the real ones. He says Virgil signs a new deal. In my opinion, there's a chance we incorporate the centre back and FB meter, but it won't be Bastoni and Schlotterbeck. Too much expenditure considering we have multiple positions to address. And talking of multiple positions to address, Waxy. Midfield, talk of Curtis Jones, talk of McAllister, talk of a new contract with Ryan Gravenberch, talk of a new contract for Szoboszlai. He is a little small bomber. From what I understand, Curtis Jones apparently is requesting, demanding, wanting, call it what you like, 200 grand a week to stay at Liverpool and sign a new contract, from what I understand. And I don't think Liverpool are out for it. And that is why there is rumours and real talk about Curtis Jones leaving the football club come the summer. There was a chance, in my opinion, Curtis Jones leaving in January. But Conor Gallagher's transfer to Tottenham may have put a stop to that. But there is still a chance. He might compromise and sign a new contract. But from what I understand, Curtis Jones wants 200 grand. And at the moment, Liverpool's stance is, you can go because we want to get £30 million for you. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think 200,000 is quite a lot for Curtis Jones.
He's on 80 at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what he's on at the moment. He's on peanuts at the moment, isn't he? He's not on a great wage at the moment, but I think £200,000 is quite a lot for him. I don't think he's worth that much. If you said 150, I think nowadays, the modern game, 150 paying players about around that much is probably our average nowadays. So yeah, maybe around that much. If he comes to a compromise and says, "Look, yeah, I want 150," then he probably would stay. But if he doesn't, I think we need to cash in. I think business is business. I think wherever is his
hurts me, man.
or wherever he does what he's done for the club so far. If we can get 30-40 million for him, we need to cash in. I think he's got a couple of years left on his contract to 2027. I think Jones as well. His contract 18 months or 2027. Yeah, so I think we need to cash in. And I think you mentioned about Jones. I think Paul Joyce did mention it that Tottenham were interested.
Yeah.
In Jones this window.
Well, okay.
Conor Gallagher came in, and obviously I think the interest won't go away. I think Tottenham will come back in for Jones, and obviously I think that sort of has that interest. I think Johnny Heitinger. I think he's a big fan of Curtis Jones, and I think he wants to work with Curtis Jones. So I think Jones going in the summer might happen more. I think more realistically now compared to Maka. I thought Maka would have gone first, but I think now with all the information that's coming out now, I think Jones will be the one that will leave, and I think Maka will stay.
You agree, boys?
I don't know. I don't like it.
No, I completely agree that he's not worth 200k a week. And again, this might be my heart speaking more than my head, but I think Curtis Jones is criminally underrated. I understand the sentiment of, he's a very safe passer. He can hold onto the ball too long, but the versatility he provides you, the fact Kirkes this season has been struggling to push forward. And when Jones has started dropping into left back and allowing Kirkes to go forward, we've started to see an improvement in him. As a creator, Jones, in my opinion, is one of the most creative players in this team. He just isn't allowed to unlock it in this system. We bring him on because we want to slow the game down. We want to control the tempo of the match. But he's someone who he's up for the fight. He gets stuck in. He's if I went to a fan on the street and stuck a shirt on them and went, right, you're playing now at Anfield, it's how Jones would play. He understands what it means to represent this club, and he's someone who gives his all when he's on the pitch. Yeah, he does have his issues. Like I say, he can hold onto the ball too long. He can be bullied in a challenge, but he's always up for it. And he's someone who, if you said to him, right, you're going right back today, he'd give his all. He's an incredibly creative player. He can slow down a match. He provides for others as a sort of base so that you can see Vert push forward because he drops back to cover for Gravenberch when he's in the number 6 role sometimes. He's brilliant defensively. He's up for every match that he goes in. And I like that he's took the mantle of being part of the leadership team this season. When we lost to PSV, he was the first player out there explaining and saying, this is not good enough. We want better. And at a time where we're losing Andrew Robertson, Virgil van Dijk potentially soon, Salah, that core leadership group, which I keep going on about, Curtis Jones can be part of that next generation of leaders in this team because he understands what it means. Let's not forget, this is Jones who's been involved in both Premier League title winning teams. He understands what it means to win things for this club.
Lewis, if you're Richard Hughes then, after that defence, and so what are you giving him?
I say he's not 200k a week. I'd say 150, 160. Yeah. If Konate right now can't get 200k a week, and I'm not saying Konate is a brilliant player, but we said about 180 not having 200k, and he's the start and centre back alongside Van Dijk game in, game out. Jones, for all that I love him, is still considered a rotation player. I think 150 is the most you can give him, but you need players like Jones. He's not how do I put it? He's like a younger James Milner. You know what you're going to get from him every match. It's consistency. It's someone you can bring on and he will do a job for you. And in a squad like Liverpool at the moment where we're lacking depth and we're lacking options in certain areas, someone like Jones is integral to this team in that respect. But I'd still only be giving him 150k a week. If If he wants more than that, I'm sorry, but there is better players who are not on that amount of money.
Also, as a side thing, it is good to have a Scouser in the actual team.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
One of those.
It's good to have that person that understands. Above all, he talks as if he's a fan. Like, obviously he is a fan, but all the players, they don't grow up supporting Liverpool in the city. Like, like that PSV interview after the match, he was just talking as if he was one of us watching that game from the outside when he was involved in it, talking how the players didn't seem like they were fighting for the shirt. And I think as a player as well, how useful he is in so many different game scenarios. Okay, maybe not starting level all the time, but I do think in some games he should start. I personally think he's better than, well, he's on par with McAllister in some areas of the pitch, most of them in my opinion. But I just think someone that's that valuable in different game states is someone you need to when you want to win a title. I understand we can't have 11 players that start and then the drop off be so big. Whereas Jones, you can fit in most games right now. We play that upcoming, and you're not going to see massive drop off. You can actually see benefits in some areas. Like when we had that rough patch and we had that Champions League game where Jones and Szoboszlai were in the pivot because Gravenberch was injured. McAllister was like had fitness issues. Them two slotted in and just played so well together. And I think Jones, you can do that in multiple positions. You can play him as an 8. You can play him as a 6 if you want. You can like moving into left back, as you mentioned. Having that sort of player is so valuable, especially because they're from the academy and homegrown. Helps for that aspect of things as well. So I think, okay, 200k is a lot. So maybe 150 would do, which is still double his wage. So I hope he would take that, being the fact that he still stays in his home city. But I can see him staying, to be honest. It just depends on who the team that comes in for him are.
But the problem is now is actually obviously is a completely different discussion as to why Liverpool find themselves in the situation when it comes to the contract situation. But when you look at Robertson running out this summer, Kanate this summer, Alisson next summer, Salah next summer, Gomez, Tsimikas, Curtis Jones, Endo, Bajcetic, all next summer. The summer after, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, where in normal circumstances you have to start talking to a player if you really want them 2 years prior to they leave the club for free. But whether it's bad planning, whether Liverpool didn't have a sporting director, whether it was too much control or too much responsibility on Jurgen Klopp, believe what you want, Liverpool are in this really tight situation. But do you think the players, obviously everyone's the best for themselves, me and you included, where if you think you've got 18 months left of the contract and your agent is in your ear and your family is in your ear, at the end of the day, you want, he probably doesn't sign this sort of contract ever again because what is he, 24, 25 now, Curtis Jones?
Exactly.
So
this is his main contract now, isn't it?
He holds the cards that if he's demanding 180 to 200 grand a week, it's partly down to the fact that he's only got a year left on his contract because Liverpool now have to do something this summer.
Yeah, I think the names that you mentioned that the contract's running out in a year's time, we wouldn't renew them anyway because they're not good enough. Endo's going to go. Bajcetic is not going to stay any longer. These are the players that we probably will not renew anyway. So we're actually focusing on the players that we actually want to renew contracts with. So obviously Gravenberch, McAllister, there's been talks of some talks, initial talks, and Szoboszlai. So those are 3 ones that we want to tie down on new contracts. Obviously, we've got Gakpo's contract done in the summer. So those are the names of it. Tsimikas, he's going to get sold. We don't want him. Endo, he's going to go, probably go on a free. Bajcetic, I don't know why, he's going to get sold or he's going to leave on a free. Only the one that I can see from the contract situation is only Jones, really, out of the list that you mentioned. That is he one that we're going to tie down or not sooner rather than later? So I think Jones, again, squad player, fantastic. I think he's a great squad player. I still probably want him around. I think he can still prove that he can do his bit on the day in a game. But again, business is business. I think that worked with Luis Diaz as well, wasn't it? It was a business deal. It wasn't anything else, and it'll come with Jones as well. Jones will be a business deal. I think the figure of 30 million, I think probably, if he had a bit longer on his contract, I think we would probably get more out of for him. But I think 30 million, if he doesn't sign a contract, we will sell him. I think we will sell him.
For me, you just need to build a squad, and every team that's successful in the league has a good squad, and I think he's a very good player for any squad in the country. I think he'd start for most teams, by the way, in the Premier League. Well, if like that aren't pretty much Arsenal, maybe Man City. That's it. I would say he starts for most teams in the league. He is that quality. But like you look at Arsenal, for example, they're doing so well, but they have Eze £70 million sitting on the bench most weeks. And the player of that quality, you wouldn't say that. Obviously, you would expect him to be starting a lot, but they didn't necessarily sign him as a guaranteed starter. You spend money on these players. Like even all the defenders they bought, they spent a lot of money, but these players aren't going to start every week, but they're good enough to put in a good job because you're going to be competing in 4 competitions if you want to play at the highest level. And Jones is such a good player for that. We won't need to bring in anyone else to replace him. And I don't see the club bringing in like 6, 7, 8 players this summer.
Really?
So, I think they'll bring in a few to start the team, but I don't think we're going to bring many squad players in.
Okay.
So I think keeping someone who's that good of an asset in that area, in terms of squad players in the team, I don't think anyone's above him. That is a regular rotator, but in terms of quality of a squad player that doesn't start every week, he's up there.
Yeah.
So,
just quickly go on, Lewis.
No, I was just saying I agree. I was just
Quickly going down the table, how many signings do Liverpool make? First team and squad. I'm not counting like a 17-year-old kid, like a proper squad player.
I'll say 4, 3 or 4.
Lewis?
Yeah, I was leaning more towards 3. I think it does depend on sales, though. I think is a big part of it.
5.
5.
I go 6.
5.
Ooh, 6 players.
I think we're gonna have.
How many did we bring this summer?
Well, definitely 5.
How many did we just
if
bring
you
in?
sell people, then I'd get it.
Sorry?
How many
if
did we
you
just
sell
bring in
people,
this summer?
I think Salah will go. I think
Gakpo
Curtis Jones will leave.
Gakpo will go.
Endo will
I'm
go
not.
as well.
I'm not too sure about Gakpo now because he's on high wages now. Waxay. Who's gonna give him those wages that he's on at Liverpool? Bayern. He's got Luis Diaz.
Endo's going to be leaving as well.
Yeah. So I can
Gomez
see.
possibly.
I can see Liverpool bringing in 6 players. 5
Gakpo should be a squad player as well, I think.
Yeah, of course.
I think he's again, like last season we saw his best as a squad player, rotating with Diaz. So I think we should bring in a starting left winger and do that.
But
Talking about
you're saying 6. That's easy.
6 is a lot.
Huh?
That's easy 300 million.
Yeah, but look how much we're going to save if someone like Salah goes.
I know, but I just can't see you spending another 300 million.
Robertson's going to leave. That's 160 grand a week off the wage book. That's 2. I think Curtis Jones will leave. We'll get 30 million pounds for him. We might try to do a deal and get around about 20 million pounds for Harvey Elliott once he's back in the summer.
Yeah, forgot about Elliott.
I think we'll get 20 million for Harvey Elliott. If you can't get 35, surely you can get 20. But do the deal properly this summer.
What positions do you think though for the 6?
I think we'll get a winger in. If Salah leaves, we'll get 2 wingers.
2 centre
I'll
backs.
get 2 centre backs at least. I think Adam Wharton is a big target for us. So that's 5 already.
Yeah, fair.
5 already.
And if Jones leaves as well, Wharton will definitely
And maybe a
come
squad
in.
player, yeah.
I can see Liverpool's midfield being Wharton and Gravenberch and Szoboszlai next season.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Wirtz?
Wirtz, I think will be seen if we don't get a winger. Wirtz and Gakpo and Rio used, and it all depends on the system as well. If he wants to stick with this system, then the type of profile of player might be a bit different as well. If he goes back to a standard 4-3-3, it might be different. He might go for someone like Anthony Gordon, who I think you might not like it, and Gene goes on about him, but he's still really rated by the club. Whenever you ask about wingers, Anthony Gordon's name comes up. So whether you like it or not, the club really like him.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Arsenal.
You never know.
Yeah, but talking about, I know we with a brilliant conversation. It's nearly 400 people in here. Keep on liking, keep on subscribing. Make sure you head over to Yash Talks Footy and head over to Beyond the Cop on YouTube. And if Waxy is going to call his channel, we'll call it Blurry Waxy. Head over to Blurry Waxy and give him a like as well. Szoboszlai, if we're talking about Curtis Jones's wages and if he's demanding around 200 grand, in my opinion, if Dominic Szoboszlai is staying at the club, and you guys might get shocked here, I think Dominic Szoboszlai is going to demand between 250 grand to 300 grand a week to stay at Liverpool and sign a new contract. In my opinion,
he'll get it.
How much is he on now?
145,000 at the moment.
I think he'll demand between 250 and 300.
Double.
Well, Gakpo's on 250.
There you go.
So
his case, Lewis, will be he's won the title. He's probably going to get. He's the future captain. The club see him that way. He sees it that way as well. And he's been Liverpool's best player, arguably best player this season.
Look, if the club see Gakpo as 250, I see Szoboszlai as 250, no doubt. So, you know what? That's fine then. That's fine by me.
So at the moment, the top five earners in the team is Salah on 400k, Van Dijk on 350, Alexander Isak's on 280 to 300, Ekitike is 250, and Alisson's 235. So did you say 200 to 250? So that's like, to be fair, that's Ekitike wage.
No, he said 250.
And I think Dominic
250 to 300. I think Dominic
250 to 300. I think. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked because I think especially if we're losing players next, or we're losing Robbo, which is a big chunk off the wages, like you say, I can see that because Szoboszlai has been undroppable. And like you said, we're future-proofing. We are moving into this new era and we're having to plan for what comes next. Szoboszlai is a big part of that. You've got players like Wirtz who you can rotate around and build a squad around, but Szoboszlai has been the catalyst. He's been the Roberto Firmino of midfield this season for us. So I think he's justified to push for it. Like I said before, Jones isn't worth 200k because his role is 6 to 7 out of 10. He's a rotation squad player. Szoboszlai is a guaranteed starter, game in, game out. He was starting at right back.
One of the best in the world as well.
Exactly. And he's good. He can leverage to us as well, saying, right, I want 250 to 300k. If you don't want to give me it, I'm sure Real Madrid will come in for me.
Yeah,
I'm sure a Bayern will come in for me or a Barca. So he's got that leverage on him.
You need to keep these elite players at your club. Like we don't want, especially after the Gakpo thing. I can't believe that we've given him that much money.
Yeah. Are you not worried though, Ash, that if he demands 250 to 300, that the club might say, nah, as good as you are, that's a bit too much for us.
Surely the club are seeing what he's doing for us this season, what he's done for us last season. Yeah. Every big game,
I'd give him it.
The big games, like I think he's one of the midfielders out of all of them. If you were to build, like he's the one that you can see us bringing in players, putting next to Szoboszlai. I think he's the one that stays, even if we bring in different profiles. I don't think, like if you had to pick out of Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai, and you say, look, we're going to sign a Wharton this summer, who's going to start, who do you put next to him? Everyone should be saying Szoboszlai. Yeah. I don't think you would pick anyone else. And then you'd want, obviously we've got Florian Wirtz ahead. So I think he's the number one on Slot's team sheet. He should be at the moment anyway. And if you were to rank our players currently, who is the best? Like who would you say has the best quality? Szoboszlai is probably in the top 5. So we make sense if he's in the top 5 paid players at the club. So I think he's got every right to 300's a lot, but I think he'll probably ask for 300 and they can negotiate to 250 or
Is it very are we being very reactionary though? Just to play devil's advocate, because Szoboszlai's having an amazing season, let's not get it wrong. But last year he wasn't great. the season he came in, he had a great purple patch and then dipped. Are we not being very sort of rose-tinted glasses and reactionary going, he's had this amazing season so far, therefore he is just an amazing player, full stop, given what he wants?
I don't
Well,
know.
didn't we do
I
that
think
with Salah last season then? Similar.
Yeah, but Salah had like 9 years of track record, 8 years of track record for why he was justified to get a new contract. Whereas Szoboszlai, don't get me wrong, I completely agree. I think he's class, but we've seen this before from him. This year is his best one, and now it's give him what he wants. I'm still saying he deserves the money. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just playing the sort of devil's advocate of, are we being very reactionary with this new contract?
At least, I made a video today as well talking about Szoboszlai and how good I think he is compared to people in the world. And the one thing I mentioned was, I don't think this is the best version of him yet. He's 25 years old as well. We don't think, like, I don't think he's anywhere near the best version of himself he can be. Maybe physically he's hitting that peak which we're seeing, but I think in terms of like the creative aspect of the game, maybe even though I think his big game goals and assists is really good, I think chipping in a bit more of them. I think his decision making, sometimes he can slow the game down a little bit when we can speed things up, but he's got that in his locker. So I think he's going to learn so much himself. So I think that will play a factor, is the fact that he's 25 years old and he's this good. He's still easily got 5, 6, 7 years in the locker, where physically he's going to be so good regardless of if maybe his quality drops off a tiny bit as he ages. I think how good he is off ball and things like that will always play a big part, because even if on ball this season he doesn't have the best game, we know he's the one who's going to be pressing. He's the one going to win the ball back. He's going to have the most distance covered on the pitch over anyone. So I think that value, that how valuable that is to the team, I think he can demand that, especially if he sees how much Gakpo asked for and got it. So
okay, just quickly, literally 5 minutes on the Bournemouth game, guys. It was a great performance in Marseille. Same again, Waxy. Would you pick the same team? I guess we don't have many options. Rio exactly is not going to play. Is there a case for someone maybe like Gakpo pushing the manager of a starting place, or no? We were really good in Marseille. Same again.
I think it's going to be the same team. I don't think it's going to change much, because you've seen the performance that we had with that team. I think with the problems that he's having this season with performance and team selection, if that's worked for him, he's not going to change that.
Okay. Yash, same again. It picks itself, I think.
No, I think the team definitely picks itself. I think that's Slot's best coached match in a very, very long time. I think how he actually set the team up, how we were playing in the match, I don't think he would change that. Obviously, it did help that the way Marseille play, they actually play out. They do try and get the ball out the back. So that does help. So we do tend to play better against teams that do that. Bournemouth, I think, will do that. They'll bring the game to us. They are very end-to-end. Iraola is like that. That's how it was when we played them earlier in the season. So I think this will be a game for him to play a similar team and hopefully build on the performance, because the consistency right now we're not seeing. It'd be nice to see 2 back-to-back good performances.
Yeah. Lewis, at least we don't have to deal with Semenyo, Lewis.
Yeah, it's positive at least for something, I guess. No, I agree. Bournemouth, they're not going to sit in that low block, so to speak. But I think now that they have sort of been picked apart, they are going to have to be a bit more cautious of what they do. I don't see much change. The only changes I can maybe see is I can maybe see Jones coming in from McAllister.
Okay.
And to be like, one thing that keeps coming up in my head from the press conference today is Slot kept talking about right back and Jeremy Frimpong's fitness. And he was like, he's fine, but we do have to watch him. And that's making me think maybe he might try something at right back at some point, whether it's Frimpong starts and maybe Calvin Ramsey comes in or a midfielder drops there. I don't know, but I'm expecting to see something in that area of the pitch as well.
Not
the rest of it
Ramsey.
No, he's not. But I mean, as in like,
no, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Or Szoboszlai.
I think you're right. Where it might happen in the next game in midweek against Karabakh.
Yeah.
I think you get through tomorrow. It's not ideal playing Wednesday to Saturday, as he touched on in the presser, with Frimpong's 2 hamstring injuries. But I don't think he's got a choice right now. I don't think he's got a choice. For me, because of what Szoboszlai has been providing for Salah from the number 10 position. From the number 10 position, what he's been providing, the protection that he's been providing, Florian Wirtz to roam around all over the pitch. I think he's integral. Integral. And the problem is he doesn't have the option to play Kanate and Gomez at right back as well. So, Waxy, going to come to you. Prediction. Do we take 3 points tomorrow evening? Are you confident? Or is it 5th draw in the Premier League if we get a draw tomorrow?
I think
it's our 6th in this.
I don't think we'll lose.
Bloody hell. You don't think we're going to lose? There's a positive. Waxy's in a good mood.
From our first thought, draw 2-2.
2-2. Entertaining at least.
Bournemouth will score goals. They always score. They're so good at attacking. It's just they're prone to conceding. So I'll say 2-2 as well. The worst unbeaten streak the Premier League's ever seen.
Lewis?
3-2 to us.
Ooh, I was going to say that.
A bit of confidence.
I'm going with 4-2 then.
Ooh.
We'll concede. We'll concede. Yeah. I'm with you on that one, but you never know. Might be a really boring, dull, wet, and windy 0-0 now. What do we all know about? I think we missed a couple of supers. I'll just go quickly through them. Mohsin, thank you so much for sending this through. Big up. He says, are we seeing the knock-on effect of the wages of Salah, Van Dijk, Isak, Wirtz, Ekitike, even Chiesa? Bloody hell, yeah.
Chiesa's not that much.
Yes, because he came.
I just found out.
Yeah, he's on 140k, but he won't be here in the summer. I don't have any doubts about that. We may have trouble tying others on. And he forgot to mention Gakpo. I think the thing is, he had a good season, but for me, the club rated Gakpo too much. I don't think he's worth 250 grand a week. If you're giving 250 grand a week for a player right now who can't get into the team, and for me is an overall good squad player, then you're setting the bar higher, aren't you, for your indispensable players? That is the big problem, and that's what Mohsin is saying. Bante is fine. Thank you so much. Sending another super chat. Doubt Gakpo is on 250. Oh well, here we go. Per week, Capology ain't a real source. There's a reason. No outlet worth their salt ever reference them or any website in that niche. We're not privy to what any given player is on. But at least we have some sort of guidelines, don't you?
Put a super chat in just to slander this website.
Yeah, so let's see what happens. But I think we all agree that it's gonna be a summer of madness. I think Yash, did you say 3 or 4?
Yeah.
I think we're keeping our powder dry now. It's gonna be phase 2, summer of madness 2.0.
Maybe Alonso as well.
Maybe Alonso as well. That's a good ending. Okay, people, thank you so much for joining us. There's still over 370 of you in the chat. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and thank you again for getting us over that massive hurdle that we've been trying to get over, the 18,000 subscribers. The race to 20 is on. Head over to Yash Waxy. If you don't mind, guys, stick around. Just let us know. I should have done it before. If you just stick around for us to take your links so we can add it into the description, and people watching the show overnight and later tomorrow can head over and give you guys a follow on all your platforms as well. Have a good night. Tomorrow we're back with the team news at 4 o'clock and then back again live for the watch along at 5 o'clock. So make sure you tune in for that. No emergency shows tomorrow. We're sick of emergency shows. A good 4-2 win, a few heart attacks, as long as we get the 3 points tomorrow. We'll catch you tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Take care and good night.